Hey everyone, it's me, Nomi on the Arc Truth, and today we're gonna be talking about impeachment again. Now, just to let everyone know, if just we're currently having a rainstorm right now, so expect that you may actually hear some thunder and stuff. So I'll try to be as loud as possible, and which is why I'm wearing my headpiece, which I use for the PS4, which I actually bought 2 days ago. So as of right now, Jerry Nadler, the the head of the House Judiciary Committee, has actually voted to begin impeachment proceedings. What this means is that an investigation is going to be held in order to see what the president has done in terms of wrongdoing. Now, there are definitely going to be a few conditions. I recently looked on to watch a little bit of Fox News, which talked about some a little bit more about what this resolution. According to Nadler, he said that this would give the president due process, allowing his counsel to pose questions as part of an inquiry, and allows the committee's counsel to question witness at hearings. So at the this is in a way to I think it makes it look like they're trying to give the president due process, but honestly, at this point, it doesn't. After nearly 3 years of calling for impeachment, it doesn't seem like that ever. It doesn't look like that in any case. So, one of Donald Trump's campaign directors, I believe he's a director or a financer. I can't recall which one. Corey Lewandowski is going to being called in for testimony, which should begin next week, and that is supposed to give any possibility that the president may have committed any sort of crimes that may be impeachable. But I honestly don't think there's going to be anything to be impeached, and this resolution right here is full of controversy. I'm not just talking about a lot of the Democratic stance on wanting to have Trump impeached, but in terms of how the process was held out, because Jerry Nadler only made this vote inside the committee. Normally, this would be the full House. I even have evidence showing that that in 1973, in as a response to Watergate, as well as some of the hearings in the Senate and many things, that it says here that the full House voted to initiate impeachment proceedings on February 6, 1974, after 9 months of formal investigations by various congressional committees. And that is a major issue that's been going on for a long time, especially with the whole Russian collusion narrative after it fell apart. 3 times, in fact. One in terms of the Senate committee, the one in terms of the House committee, and finally with Robert Mueller. But now there's also another talk about Trump possibly somehow profiting from his business while he's president, as military men and women are staying there, which I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'm just gonna treat it as an allegation and nothing more. I think I don't know if I don't know what to say at this point, especially with how politically partisan impeachment has become. And Republicans have been very outspoken about this, because it has been a major precedent that the full House would be the ones that would vote on whether or not to commence impeachment proceedings. But that has to happen. Only in the House Judiciary Committee under Jerry Nadler has this actually occurred. And they have completely, willfully ignored the House. Some Republicans have actually claimed that the Democrats don't even have the votes, which honestly I would believe. There are still some Democrats which I'm pretty sure they still don't like President Trump. they don't really don't really support the idea of impeachment, whether it may be because they live in battleground states or they just don't believe there is sufficient evidence at all. Regardless, this has legitimacy about not having enough of the votes. And even the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, hasn't really given public support to this. Although there are some rumblings around of her supporting this, which I wouldn't be surprised. But considering that how partisan things are, especially with impeachment, and especially how this is how the Democrats are being just going gun ho on this, I would think that it makes perfect sense why she would just stay out of this and not make any sort of statement about the idea of impeachment whatsoever. So, from what I can tell, the proceedings are going to go forward, but I don't believe that there's going to be anything that could actually come out of this investigation. Like I said before, there have been 3 investigations total on the Russian collusion narrative. There was the Senate committee, who found Trump to be not guilty because there was no which I believe they said that was because of no evidence. The House committee said the same thing, and of course, Robert Mueller said the same thing. No evidence to suggest that he actually colluded with the Russians, and yet there was this spin on not just by the mainstream media but also by the Democrats saying that he did. In a way that's still going on. I mean, AOC is a blatant advocate for impeachment because she believes that President Donald Trump is corrupted and just well she believes that he's corrupted. He colluded with Russia and even would like to impeach him on his him being a racist or a fascist, despite the fact that neither of those labels would truly apply to him. And that's what's becoming a major problem right now. Impeachment has become so partisan that no one is really taking the situation seriously. People originally did when the idea of Russian collusion came up, but over time with many of these investigations turned out to have nothing, people lost interest, despite the fact that the mainstream media and the Democrats have been just propping this narrative up for over 2.5 years. And the reason why I believe that the Democrats, or at the very least, Jerry Nadler, is moving ahead with impeachment proceedings, is because it's an election year, and Tim Pool actually had the same idea that I had, because the Democrats are currently right now in the toilet. I'm pretty sure that they will lose the House of Representatives, but Tim Pool actually goes on to say that because of the Democrats preparing for this defeat, they are going gun-ho or Hail Mary on this impeachment proceeding, because currently right now they have a majority in the House, and they are wanting to take control of that majority as much as possible, and that is completely selfish, considering that impeachment is not designed for taking down political opponents, but rather to stop the president from committing crimes in office, or even going so far as to expand into tyranny. And impeachment also applies to other positions as well, such as judges, and I even believe Congress itself can be impeached. I believe in Congress itself can be impeached. I don't think there's a limit to specifically who cannot be impeached. They just need specific evidence to show that whether or not that's actually that is valid kind of impeachment where it goes against the Constitution of the United States or federal law in general. But nonetheless, it's just everybody doesn't care for this, and people are just fed up with this narrative. Tim Pool is fed up with this narrative. He makes that statement very well known in his own video. He makes it very clear that he's tired of this impeachment proceeding. I am as well, and I especially am sick and tired of just the selfish use of said power. Even when Donald Trump was elected on November 6th of 2016, people were calling for his impeachment, saying that they are not his president, he was not their president, and that because of simply not getting the result that they wanted, they just wanted him impeached. And that was before he was inaugurated into the office. Before he was inaugurated into the office. Remember that. And then there was that the idea of him colluding with the Russians, and there was a whole debacle about just for 2 years now the waste of over $25 million, time as well as other kinds of resources that could have been used in order to focus on this investigation, which panned nothing, except for maybe I forgot who the two other people, but they worked in Steele. That's one of them. I believe he also worked for the Trump campaign. But anything that directed Trump in terms of him violating the law has not been proven. Because, again, there's no evidence, and yet they are continually pushing this narrative. I especially find it concerning when people like AOC are just trying to go forward with impeachment as a way to publicly shame Republicans. She claims that Donald Trump is the corrupt man, even though that she herself has been is currently being investigated for possible violations of campaign finance laws, and yet she is willing to use impeachment. She wants the House to impeach Donald Trump, and she wants to see Republican senators turn against the president, not turn against the president. She wants Republican senators to vote no against convicting the president, so that that way she could it would be seen as a public shaming that they would supposedly stand by his corruption, and it would be something that would tarnish them for the rest of their lives. Again, completely selfish, and this is why no one is taking any sort of seriousness to what's been going on with the investigation. I don't think that there's anything that's going to pull out. This is, like Tim Pool said, this is just going to be a Hail Mary. At this point, they know they're going to lose. They know that Donald Trump is still a very popular figure amongst the right, and I think even the moderates as well. And a lot of much of the Democratic Party is just so divided into separate faction camps. So considering that they are at a major disadvantage, especially with this upcoming election, it's definitely showing in the form of impeachment proceedings. Again, I do not believe that anything in terms of impeachment will come around. I do not believe so. You would need strong amount of evidence to suggest otherwise, and even to get the Republicans on your side. But even despite that, I believe that they're still going to try to go ahead. But nonetheless, it's just going to taint them as the ones who are that are violating constitutional law as well as procedures, just trying to be selfish in their use of of using impeachment. And that, I think, is going to have a major effect on the Democratic Party as a whole for decades to come. Because of this, they will not only lose this election, but they will lose many elections later as a result of their tarnishment in this impeachment proceeding. This is just going to show how much they disregard the idea of impeachment and use it for political pandering. I'll say political pandering, and it's just going to make the Democratic Party have such a bad image that it will gradually lose support. I honestly believe that it will gradually lose support. A lot of these people in the House of Representatives, like AOC and Jerry Nadler, may want to have impeachment proceedings and may love the idea of impeaching the president. But eventually, and I think it's going to come soon in 2020, this will bite them in the ass. My name is Domi on The Arc Truth. Please post your comments down below, like this video, subscribe, and share with your friends. Also, if you have any problems with how I make my videos, especially the runtime, my bad with 60 minutes, please be sure to either post them down in the comments below or directly message me. Thank you.
Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountain.